If you're sick of the mainstream sports outlets, well, so was I. So I started my own show. I'm Shane Larson, and this is the Game Time Guru. It's different than other talk shows. I'm providing a panoramic view on sports so you can see them through a different lens. So buckle up and let's go. Guys, as sports fans, we typically show our passion in different ways. For me, my way of showing my passion for sports is actually doing this podcast, and that's why I've been doing it for the last 2 years. It's exciting. We're hitting 2019, 2 years on the show, and today I'm taking a different turn on things a little bit. It's a different perspective, and that's what I like to do on this show because we take a different perspective and deliver a panoramic view on sports. And so I'm bringing on a musical artist to talk about his journey. And some people might say, Shane, why are you bringing on a musical artist to the Game Time Guru Sports Podcast? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's something about the passion and what he does and how it relates to sports. So I hope you guys tune in and listen. So before I get to the interview, I just wanted to share my thoughts. The college football bowl season just wrapped up. This is Friday, but this last week, the college football bowl season just wrapped up, and we had a lot of talk about how some of the teams just didn't show up because Georgia didn't show up because they didn't make the Final Four, so it was a consolation game to them. They just didn't care, and there's other teams that just didn't show up. You don't really see Ohio State's team simply not showing up, right? Like, they might have gotten blown out by Clemson a couple years ago, but they showed up, and so did their fans. They just got beat by a much better opponent. And I realized this about Ohio State. There's tradition, there's history, there's a fan base behind them, and it's insane. And I know you guys hear me talk about that, but once you experience it in person and then start following, the program at a much deeper level, you'll realize that. And there's something that's like, you can tell that there's just a different aura amongst all of them, and it's insane. And you noticed it in Urban Meyer's final interview after the game, and he was talking about how if you go and watch it, he did a post-game interview on the field, but then in the locker room he says the same thing. He tells the team, they have a saying in the locker room, says, when I need you the most, you give me your very best. And he said that's what we did all year. In the summer with the Brett McMurphy issue that we discussed on this podcast a couple weeks back, during that, the team gave him his very best. And then during the season when they got beat by Purdue, the team didn't fall apart. They gave him their very best. And then at the end, when they didn't get into the college football playoff, they still stuck together and they gave him their very best. And it's just kind of this concept. And you see it like last year. Billy Price, the former offensive lineman for Ohio State, who's now in the NFL, he gave a post game speech after the Iowa game when they got destroyed, and he talked about how he said, "Long live the brotherhood for this moment right here, right now. Long live the brotherhood for this moment." And he talked about how they needed to stick together because they still had things to play for, and the team still stuck together, played hard. Ended up with a Cotton Bowl victory over USC. And you just see that they don't ever take those games for granted. They don't act like those games don't matter. They showed up for the Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame. They showed up for the Cotton Bowl. Even before, when they couldn't make the national championship, even though they were the top team, one of the top teams in the country, the year that they had the bowl ban, and they went undefeated, they still played hard all season long. And even though they knew they weren't going to a bowl game, it's just something that you see with the program. Some people hate on them because of their brand name, and I know that. But it's just insane, the passion that's behind that program. It's just insane. And I think you see it at a lot of different schools. You see it in a lot of places. But since I'm more involved with the program at a deeper level now, I see it. And it's insane how deep that passion goes. And so today I'm bringing on an amazing guest who is going to share his journey and his passion. And I told you it's a musical artist. He's going to share his story. I was scrolling through a Facebook feed, and it was on the Ohio State fan page that I follow. And I saw this video, and it's called I'm a Buckeye, and it's a musical video. It's a music video, and I turned it on, and I was like, oh wow, this has a pretty smooth beat to it, and the lyrics were pretty cool. I thought it was pretty catchy. Reached out to the gentleman. His name's Relm Diggie, and he hit me back up on Facebook. I said, dude, I'd love to have you talk about your song and the passion behind it. And you guys are gonna hear this story from Relm today. It's an amazing journey that he went on. It talks about his origin, where he's from, his roots, and all the way to now, and how he's loved music his whole life, and that's how he kind of shares his passion and his passion for the Buckeyes, his passion for life and everything, and it's through music. It's awesome. It's very inspirational, so I want you guys to sit back and listen to this. It's Relm Diggie. Go follow him on all of his pages. He's going to talk about that later, but hit the links below if you want to go see him on his Facebook page. Go check out his videos. I'll have the links here for you. But enjoy this interview and hear what it was like for Relm to just essentially keep grinding, and how he put these songs together, especially this one. It's called I'm a Buckeye. He'll break down the lyrics for us. You're going to enjoy it. And sit back, take a drink of water, enjoy the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of the Game Time Guru podcast. And you heard in the introduction, I'm Shane Larson, your host. And today we're bringing on a guest who is going to demonstrate their passion. We're going to spotlight this in a different way. So you guys know that, from listening to my show for the last 2 years, my passion is sports. And I kind of demonstrate and spotlight that passion by doing this podcast and allowing others to share their stories through the sports world. Well, today we're going to bring on a guest who is going to do the same thing, but we're taking a different perspective, which I oftentimes do on this show. We're going to kind of talk about the music game. And this guest, his name is Relm Diggie, and he's going to be joining us and talking about his music. It's specifically one of the songs that I came across just recently about the Ohio State Buckeyes. So first I want to welcome Relm onto the show. Relm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor for us to have someone like yourself on the show. And it's crazy because, we go through, I'm scrolling through my social media feed the other day. It's a Facebook feed. I follow a lot of Ohio State fan pages just because I'm a Buckeye fan, and we've talked about that here on the show. But I come across this song, and I'm like, let's check it out. So I clicked it was already playing, but I had to click it to expand the page. All of a sudden, I'm like, dang, this is actually it was the very beginning of it got my attention, and then the music video itself was pretty well put together, and the lyrics themselves, I was like, wow, I found myself listening to it over and over again. And then I was here using our Google Home device, telling them to play I'm a Buckeye by Relm Diggie. My wife has no idea what the heck this is, and all of a sudden I'm playing it. My little son, who's 2 years old, is dancing to it because the beat's cool. So I was like, I've got to get a hold of this guy, and I'm grateful that I got you on here. But first, Relm, we got to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes, your passion for them, before we get into this song and kind of understand that. So how did you become a Buckeye fan, and how does that play a role into your life growing up?
Let me tell you, I have been a Buckeye since before I was a Buckeye. That's all I know. In Columbus, Ohio, from birth, as soon as you come out, I think it's in your DNA, especially if you're born at OSU Hospital. I was born at OSU Hospital, you know what I mean? So I guess when I came out, I was just branded a Buckeye because I live it, I breathe it. I can remember a time when I was 6 or 7 years old, and we were poor growing up. And my mother, she bought these $2-3 jerseys from a Walmart. And one of them was a Penn State and one of them was Ohio State jersey, and my brother, he's 2 years older than me, but we were about the same size because I'm taller than him. So, my brother, he looked at the jersey. My brother, he's older than me, so it's competition. So he thought that I was not looking at the names of the jerseys. He thought I was looking at the colors, right? So he my brother likes blue. So I'm going to take the Penn State jersey, so he can't take it. So he snaps the Penn State jersey so fast, and I just laughed at him. I'm a Buckeye. You know what I mean? I put on the Buckeye jersey. And growing up, I'm such a Buckeye. I named my son Columbus, you know what I mean? And people be like, you named your son after the city you were born in? It's not like I'm just naming him after my city. It's just that's the Buckeye pride we have. And I'm going to tell you a story. I thought I had the best Buckeye name for my son as naming him Columbus. I was on a plane one time, and I was telling a guy, he was a real Buckeye fan, and I told him my son's name Columbus. He said, oh, that's good. He said, but my niece, her middle name is Ann, and her last name is Gray. Her first name is Scarlett. Her name is Scarlett Ann Gray. I said, okay, sir, you got me. I thought I had it, but you got it. You know what? Even if my last name was Gray, I don't even know if I would have thought of that one. That one was so clean. I said, you know what? That's tight. So that's a Buckeye for you. That's what I'm getting at. It's just something so strong you don't know what it is. It's just that's what you are, and you can't control it. So when I'm writing songs, I probably have about 10 to 12 Buckeye songs in my arsenal, and it's not that I'm just writing just to be a Buckeye. It's just that every so often I hear a track that lets me represent my city or where I'm from, and as an artist, as a hip hop artist, we always stand strong about where we're from. You know what I mean? Because that's where you get your fan base from, and that's where that's how the game respects you, because you respect your roots and where you come from. So me being from Columbus, Ohio, I know we don't in the music industry we don't get a lot of light, so to speak, because I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and then they hear you from Ohio. The first thing they think about is a cow town, and there's not too many big artists that come up out of there besides like Bone Thugs and Harmony and maybe Bow Wow. So the industry kind of like looks at us like different, but there's a whole slew of artists in Ohio right now. I had a song in 2003 called "Welcome to Buckeye City." Now I wrote that song when we were 2-0 that year. We ended up winning the national championship. I had no idea we was going to win the national championship. We won the national championship. Now my song was getting played, and I'm not exaggerating, like almost 6-7 times an hour for months. It was like something I've never heard of or seen. It was the Buckeye pride was so big. I mean, it was to the point to where you knew as soon as you walked outside, you felt a surge. So somebody asked me one time, and they were just playing, but I was serious about the answer I gave them. They said, "Do you think you had anything to do with the Buckeyes winning the national championship 2003, 2004? 2002, 2003. I said, "Yes, I do." For one, when that song hit the airwaves, it gave the city a surge. It gave the city a surge. I mean, it was like, I can't explain it. You just had to be there. I'm going to just say it like this. I was getting so many spins on the radio, and I was homeless at that time. Now, imagine that. You're homeless, sleeping couch to couch, just because you're so hungry about this music. All you care about is getting in the studio because you know you're going to make it. Sleeping couch to couch. My song hits the radio. I'm in somebody's car, we're going down the street, and we're listening to the radio, and it's playing the top 5 at 5. So they get down to number 5, 4, 3. Then when they got to number 2, they said the number 2 song is the Fiesta Bowl remix by Relm Diggie, because I did a remix to Welcome to Buckeye City. I said, wow, I got the number 2 song on the radio. So we driving. And they said the number 1 song on the radio is Welcome to Buckeye City by Relm Diggie. I said, oh, wow, it's time to get out of here. Because like that was like, I mean, I knew I had done it. I knew I had to, and I knew I had my city with me. I had them with me. I mean, it was so big that, you know, artists stand outside and sell CDs on the corner. And I'm one of those artists too that, you know, from the grind. And, you know, a good day for, like, if an artist is selling his whole album, standing on the corner, a good day, a real good day is he might sell 20 CDs. $10 a piece or $200, that's a good day. No exaggeration. We pressed up 10,000 CDs, pulled up in a scarlet and gray stretch Hummer, and then one day I sold 7,500. That's how big Welcome to Buckeye City was. That's how big being a Buckeye is. That's how big, if you have anything representing them Buckeyes, the attachment is instant. It's instant. Now, unless it has to be good product. There's a difference. You could have some bad product representing the Buckeyes, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But if it's that A1, they stand by it. They stand by it. I mean, I stand by it. I mean, like, ever since I did the song Welcome to Buckeye City, every rapper in Columbus, it's like that's their mission now because they know that's their way out. You know what I mean? That's the way to get heard, I guess. You know, that's the way to get the radio. That's the way to get the whole city and state behind you. I mean, because we are the Ohio State Buckeyes. And they keep trying, and they keep trying. And it just so happened I did it again this year. Not that I was just trying to chase my own coattails, so to speak. It's just that I'm a Buckeye. And I strategically planned this one, you know, because I sat down and I said, you know, I've been doing music forever. And it's time to really catapult myself into my career and to get my career bigger. You know, I mean, I've done a lot up until this point. I've toured all over the world, toured with major artists. I've been in a couple movies. I did a movie with Mac 10 and Busy Bone called Cutthroat Alley. So I've done a lot. I've done almost everything except for Cash to Chat, right? So now I'm like, you know what? I can't just live off stories. You know what I mean? My son can't eat these stories. I have to have something tangible. You know what I mean? So I sat back. I said, you know what? I have all these songs. Which one is going to get me from this point, from this spot, to where I want to be? All of them would have, because all of my music is good. I didn't have a budget or basically the budget to promote any song, because when you're promoting a song, you need video, you need visual, you need merchandise, and you got to push it, right? And you got to work that one song. And if you work that song, you have to bank on people following you. So this song, I'm a Buckeye, was I'm not going to tell you when I wrote it, but it was already done. It was already, as a matter of fact, it didn't even have that same beat. So I was listening to my song, and this is before the season started. I said, you know what? I'm going to start with this, I'm a Buckeye. Just because I knew my fans, right? I already had these fans. And in the game of music today, the game has changed from how good you are. You don't have to have talent anymore. You just have to have some numbers, right? You got to show numbers. You got to show that people are coming to your Instagram. You got to show that you have so many followers. You got to show that you are your own business, so to speak, and it's worth, and it has equity in it. You understand what I'm saying? You have to show that you have equity by these numbers. So every label that I'm talking to, they say, Relm, you're one of the best rappers I've ever heard in my life, but your numbers aren't up, right? Because the game changed on me. Now I moved to California right when Welcome to Buckeye City blew up, because I thought that I needed to come to California to get a record deal. Now, years later, like hindsight 2020, I'm like, why did I move again? I'm like, I sold 7,500 CDs in one day. What record store in the world sells 7,500 of everybody's stuff combined in a month? Right. I'm like, wow, exactly. I'm like, why did I leave again? I had my own. And this was right on the cusp of when the millennials, so to speak, rushed the game with. They figured it out. They figured it out that, because you got to think that us as adults, we're all adults, but I'm saying, like me, I'm grinding. I'm in California. I got to work. I got to provide for my son, and then I get in the studio. These younger children, 15, 16, 17, now they're 20, and they're big time rap artists. When they were 15 and 16, they were taking their allowance money from their parents, and they were spending it on YouTube followers, paying for you know what I mean, building their brand. And now they can put out anything they want. And me as an artist, me as a great artist, I used to hate when I hear the garbage, the material, and I used to go in like, man, that rapper sucks, that artist sucks. And then I had to think about it like, this is the music business. So how can you hate somebody whose business is moving and yours is not? You just have to figure out a way to get yours to move. So I stopped hating, and I started taking a piece out of everything to appreciate that artist. I may not like your work, I may not like your material, but I'm going to take something to appreciate you, because I do appreciate this, a young man out there taking care of his family.
Right. I think it's awesome that you're saying that you're able to adjust to essentially the way the market's rolling now compared to back then. So you I think that's the same in anything, whether it be sports, business, life, whatever. You kind of have to sit back and realize, okay, well, I'm doing my thing the way that I've always done it, but now these up-and-comers are doing something different. I don't necessarily like it, but I have to appreciate that it's working for them, so I'm going to take a piece here, adjust to it, and utilize it for my own self, right? My own business. It sounds like that's what you did to get going, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Exactly it. I had to get out of my feelings and understand that, you know how many beasts that never was there that are out there? You know how many people that were better than Michael Jordan that never got it because they were incarcerated or whatever their circumstance was? You know what I mean? Life has circumstances. So if you don't get what you get out of life, sometimes it's a circumstance. It's not because you weren't trying. It's not like you weren't putting in the effort. You know what I mean? Right. So with me putting in the effort and staying stagnant, I was getting frustrated. But then I understood why I was getting frustrated, because this is the game. Our parents lost us when they didn't change with the music, right? When we started getting deep into the rap, our parents were saying, turn that crap off, right? Then they lost us because they didn't change with it. Then now as we're getting older, we're saying the millennials music is, but then they're losing us because now everybody's listening to it. you have to be like, you know what? It's music. And like I said, I don't condone and don't promote or the violence and the drugs and everything that these rappers are promoting. I don't get into that at all. But what I do understand is environment and where you come from. You know, I come from a background like we were so poor we had to keep our food in the snow. We didn't even have heat in the house. We had to use a heater to heat up water electric heater to heat up water. Not a kerosene heater. As a matter of fact, somebody had an old heater. We used to have to put that in it and put to warm water up to take a bath. Like, I grew up very poor, so I appreciate a lot of things. And then, like I said, I understand that your environment of where you come from. So these kids, that's what they're seeing, and that's what's going on. So they're just talking about it and glorifying it. And it's not the children that it's not the artist's fault, right? It's at the end of the day, we know whose fault it is, who's pushing that button. It's the industry, right? This is where they're going. Right. This is why they hear my music and say, "Oh, this is tight. I'm going to listen to this, but I'm not going to let the world listen to it, right? Because you're saying something different. You're going against the grain, right? I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I'm not trying to change anybody. But like I said, for 3 minutes and 20 seconds or however long my song is on, I'm gonna change the world, heal the world just for that moment, right? Then you take it and run with it. But when you're listening to a Relm track for 3 minutes, however long the song is, the world is different. Just for that long, right? Because that's all I can do. I can't go to everybody in the world and say, follow me, but I can say, here, listen to this. And you make your decision, right? Because I make my decision on what I want to do. I can't force anybody to do anything. All I can do is continue to be me, put out good product, and if you follow, you follow. But at the end of the day, we both will know that if you listen to a Relm track and you're hating or you don't like it, it's just because you don't want to like me as a person. And that's what I remember. I just said I had to get away from that.
I can attest to that, though, because I was listening to your song, Relm, and I could feel it, though. Like, I can say that your music, it was different. It's what you've been saying the whole time. It was different. It was against the grain, and I gained a mad respect for it because I'm listening to it. It triggered something in me. Obviously, it was about the Buckeyes. That's the first song I heard from you. I'm a Buckeye, and I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty dope. Like, this is a pretty cool song talking about an Ohio State program. Cool beat, cool lyrics. But then I kept listening, and then I listened to some of your other tracks that you've produced, and I'm like, man, this is good music. And I think it is because you did something different. And I think a lot of people are scared to do that. They're scared to go against the grain. They're scared because of the backlash they might receive. But I think, in a sense, it's extremely smart. It might be difficult from a business perspective to try to go against the grain at first, but I think it's extremely smart because it puts you out there and it's unique. It's different, and sometimes people don't like that, but then sometimes people love that. And for me, every time I was listening to your songs, it was incredible, dude. Like, your stuff is just unreal. This latest song, I'm a Buckeye, you're talking about, now that you're saying all this to us, you're talking about it, it's in your DNA, it's in your blood, it's your hometown. You have all this, you can feel that in that song. I can feel the passion in that song. Let's break that song down, Relm, if you can, a little bit, and how you got all of that into that, 3.5, 4 minute song, how you got all that passion, that history in there.
To get on, that's why when people listen to that song, and I've got asked this question a couple of times, are you from here? Are you from here? And I'm like, who can write a song like that without being from here? You know what I mean? Like, okay, when I look at that video, I get chills, because I'm a Buckeye fan. It's not even the fact that I hear myself or I know that I made that song or whatever. It's just looking at that visual. It's like, that's a Buckeye. Whoever that guy is a Buckeye. I really don't try to get strategic on when I'm writing. Like, okay, I'm going to talk about Trestle right here. I'm going to talk about Urban Meyer right here. I'm going to talk about Woody Hayes right here. I'm going to talk about Bruce. I don't get specific when I sit down and write. I just know what I'm going to talk about. and I know so much about the Buckeyes as far as growing up and being one. It just comes out. It just comes out. You know what I mean? And like, just like with the video, we shot the video. My and my guy Chris at Fox, and he works for Fox. He shot the video. Now he's from California. He shot the video. We shot the video. We both collaboratively shot the video, and then after he did his final edit, he sent it to me, and I said, "This is a good video." I said, "But it's missing some Buckeyes. It's missing some feeling." You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it was a good visual, but then after I told him I'll be back. I'll come over tomorrow and we'll finish editing. And then that's when you see the Trestle, you see the Urban Meyer, you see all those other visuals with Brutus, you see the Michael Jackson band, you see all of that, all of those visuals that bring it together. You see that because you just have to be a Buckeye to understand what's going to trigger another Buckeye. You know what I mean? And Absolutely. Then with that alone, I wanted to trigger sports fans of all combined, all sports fans. So I didn't sit down and say I'm going strategically, but I strategically started. I'm a Buckeye. That's all I can say. Cut my veins. I bleed scarlet and gray. I was born on Lane Ave around the corner from the Horseshoe. You rock blue and maize around me in a car suit. So I'm really being cocky right there. You know what I mean? Letting you know, hey, this is where I was born. I was born right there. And what? You come over here talking about the team up north, you know what I mean? It's going to be a problem. You know, so everybody in Ohio, all Buckeye fans right there, you already know that's coded in our DNA to hate the team up north. You know what I mean? So that right there, that sparked it. Then I went in when I said Woody was the king, Urban the apprentice. I was not saying Urban is an underlink. I was saying he's the next up under Woody Hayes, right? Right. And then I say we gotta love Trestle even though he left a blemish. You know. Gotta love Trestle. He didn't really, to us, he didn't do anything wrong, but he did leave a blemish because of, he didn't get the information that he was supposed to at the time he was supposed to. Let's just say it like that. Okay? Right. So, but we still love him. Gotta love him. So with that right there, I was just giving that Buckeye pride, giving that. Just putting in those feelings that every Buckeye is gonna stand up and understand. And I knew that this song. Well, okay, I didn't know and I did know, but this song I wasn't looking for it to be bigger than Welcome to Buckeye City, because Welcome to Buckeye City was the biggest that ever happened in Columbus, Ohio, like literally. So I knew I wasn't chasing that. I just knew that I can represent my city. I can represent, you know what I mean? When I'm writing, I get very descriptive when I'm writing. So, like I said, I started going in, and as I started getting deeper and deeper into the verses, I knew I had something. I said, wow, this is incredible. This is incredible. And then you got to listen. Like I said, I wrote that song way before this season. And if you listen to the lyrics, it played out the whole season. Because you remember at the beginning of the season, the coach was in turmoil. It was looking like he was going to lose his job because of a certain situation. If you listen to the chorus of my song, you can try to take away my rights, take away my stripes, but you would never take away my fight. It's Buckeye for life. So, right? So, like I said, I had no idea that any of these things were going to take place. Because August 15th, when I dropped my single and I started going and started promoting it, that's when things started taking. That's when God stepped in and showed me that I wasn't in the wrong spot with this song.
Right.
Yeah, and to everybody else, it looked like it because I had people that were like rooting for me, but wanting to see me fail at the same time. So every Saturday after the game, they would call me or text me. Your song lives another week. You see what I'm saying? Did you hear that statement? Your song lives another week. That means you want it to die in a week. That means you're looking for it to fail, right? But like I said, my faith in myself and in my creator is so strong. I knew that this was going to work, right? So, okay, then we had the turmoil with the coach, and then what else happened? Oh, then we took a loss. Then we took a loss to Purdue. Okay, which we wasn't supposed to. So now I'm like, wow. First of all, I'm going to tell you like this. I tell everybody, don't quit your day job. But I quit my day job. I was working in the group home for the past 12 years. I started off as a youth counselor and worked my way up to an RFA specialist, which is now, instead of working with the children, I work with the parents. I was working with the parents. They come to my classes. They get trained for their license to get foster care, and I would go to their home to make sure their home was safe to put the child in. So ChildNet and DCFS, Department of Family and Children Services, work hand in hand. So that's what I was doing. I left that August 15th because I told myself, I said, you know what? I owe myself at least 8 months of a grind to myself for this music. I came out here, I got signed to a record label before I did this, that, and the third, but life took over, right? So I said, I owe myself. So as I'm grinding, I stepped out on faith, and it seemed like it seemed like I was going to sink. It seemed like it, because faith is a scary thing, because it's knowing but not knowing. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, if you have faith, that means you have to know this is going to work. Even without seeing it, right? Like, I knew this was going to work. I didn't know. I couldn't tell you that the Buckeyes were going to win, only lose one game. I couldn't have told you that we were going to go to the Rose Bowl. I couldn't have told you none of that. I just had faith that we were going to do all of that, right? Right. And now look, the Buckeyes are playing right here in Pasadena. They came to me. You know what I mean? Like, they came to me for Urban's last game. Like, I'm like, that just let me know, like, it's time. It's time. It's time. And I'm a Buckeye. I mean, people are, like, I just got back home. I just got off the plane last night. I'm going through the younger generation of Buckeyes are, like, so stoked. And I mean, like, my Instagram and my Facebook messages. Listen, this Buckeye love, Buckeye pride is so real. I'm gonna tell you, people message me and just instantly call me on social media like they know me, just because they're Buckeye fans. Like, that's how much they feel that song. You know what I mean? They like, this guy, he has to be my family. You know what I mean? Like, they call me like I'm their brother. Like people, like, literally. So I knew that, you know, that this song was really that going to be a big deal, especially after we dropped it. Now, we dropped the single, we started promoting the single, and like I said, I didn't have a budget to do any of this. I just knew I had a good song, and I knew I had a fan base for it. So we're working the song, and I didn't have a visual, and then, like, a lot of people were catching on to it without a visual. And then, you know, my business mind stepped in. I said, I needed a visual, but I didn't have a budget for a visual, and God gave me a visual. And there you have it. And now we are up and running. I mean, like, the music speaks for itself. So that's never been an issue. It's about the platform and the machine behind your product. Right. How are you going to get it out? Who's going to listen to it? Are they going to take to it, right? And do you have the means to push it? And I didn't have any of that, but I knew I had a platform and I had a fan base. So we threw it out there. I'm a Buckeye. I mean, like, I'll probably be 90 years old still writing Buckeye songs. You know, like, because that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Like, there's not going to be, and it's not that I'm writing a Buckeye song. I'm writing an Ohio song. Like, my first video I don't like this video. I didn't like the song. When I got signed to the record label in 2003, they said, okay, you're the Ohio guy, so we want you to rap over Ohio Players' Roller Coaster. Roller Coaster? I said, I'm not doing that. That's not my image. Right. So I did my album in 2 weeks, and my album was a classic. Literally, like, it was nominated Independent Hip Hop Album of the Year. So they said, oh, the album is a classic, but you didn't give us our song. So we're not going to put this album out until you give us our song. They wanted me to do 3 different songs, but the album was so clean, they said, well, we'll take away 2 of those 3, but you got to do the Ohio Players. So I sat with that track for about 3 weeks, and then one day I just went into the studio and I freestyled a song off the top of my head, just playing around. And just so happened that song ended up getting picked up. We shot a video for it. It ended up getting picked up by BT and NCB. Now, I don't like the song, but And if you listen to the song, you can't tell that I don't like. You can tell that I'm from Ohio. So what I'm saying is the song is called OHIO. I have, like I said, when I said I have an arsenal of Ohio songs, I literally do. Literally do. Even like I said, the one that I don't like, but if you listen to it, you'll love it. But me just being my own worst critic, you know what I mean? And then back then I wasn't that party type of rapper over those type of tracks. But I still, as an artist, made it happen. And I represent my state very well.
I can tell that you represent, man. This has been an amazing interview just to hear your story, hear the meaning behind everything. It totally makes sense now. I'm going to be listening to you. And you mentioned people were reaching out to you on social media. That was exactly what I did. I felt as like, I mean, I'm just from Idaho, right? I'm a Boise State alum. I went to school as a Boise State Bronco. Love my Broncos, but I've been an Ohio State fan my whole life. So I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop here in Boise. I'm one of the very few Ohio State fans here. But I mean, I was following that, and I hit you up. I was like, hey, I mean, I host a podcast. It's worldwide. So, I mean, I was like, this would be a great opportunity for me to, one, get to know you better because I thought that was awesome, and two, you know, get you to be able to share your story. And I thought, I mean, I did the same thing you were just talking about. I reached out to you, and you were very kind. Like, it wasn't like I was a nuisance or anything like that. It wasn't like I was bothering you. You were really cool. So I can see why people, I mean, the Buckeye Nation, they feel like they're all family, and I can see why because, I mean, you're part of that. And, you know, one thing I said, Relm, was last year I had the opportunity to go to the Ohio State-Oklahoma game in the shoe. That was my first time in Columbus. I had been to the Ohio State-Clemson game for the semifinal down in Arizona. Went to that and watched them get blown out. But then I went to the Oklahoma game. And although they lost, I actually interviewed quite a few fans that were there. And I wanted to get the people here in Boise to understand the difference between the fan bases because Boise State has only been a Division I football program since 1996, I believe, 95. So we're only a little over 20 years old. There's not a lot of tradition there. When we went to Columbus, though, I can tell you right now, just listening to you talk now and then like my experience there last year, totally makes sense. The tradition, the passion, the love for not only the team but the city itself is just unbelievable. And especially on game day, there's a whole new atmosphere. And I can totally tell that's how it was for you. And I'm just grateful I got to talk to you about this today. I have two questions to ask you before we wrap this up. One, where can we find your music? I'm going to post some links down here so people can see your stuff. I want them to see I'm a Buckeye because that's how I first came in contact with you. But where can we find your music?
All right. My music right now, you can find I'm a Buckeye on YouTube. It's on every streaming site right now. It's on Tidal. It's on Apple Music. It's, you name it, it's everywhere. I had a lot of music on some other sites, but I took all my music down. And starting January, I'm going to start dropping a lot of singles. But if you just Google me, Relm Diggie, or if you go to YouTube, you can see a lot of my stuff on there. And like I said, a lot of my music is coming out next year because this is the music business, and the way that the game is going now, you don't have to be a talented artist, but the game has given the power to the artist, so to speak, to control their artistry, to control what they want to do, how much they want to put out. So starting next year, starting January, you're going to start seeing a lot of my music. I mean, but all my music is going to start having a lot more visuals. But like I said, if you just follow Relm Diggie, go to YouTube, you can see all of my videos. You can and there's a lot of other music out there that I've put out there that I've done with a lot of artists. Like there's a song I did with Busy Bone that's on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. If you just if you just Google my name, you'll find it.
Okay,
and it's out there.
For sure.
Yeah, that video is streaming right now on YouTube. It's we dropped it last week. We're up to almost 200,000 views on Facebook, so it's getting a lot of streams.
Yeah, it's definitely being shared, and I'm going to make sure that all of my Buckeye listeners, the fans from Ohio, from North Carolina that are Buckeye fans that I know of, that we get that out there for you as well. And Relm, are you going to be heading down to the Rose Bowl, or did you get a seat there, or are you going to be watching it from home?
I have a couple options. I have a couple options to go to the game, and I have a lot of merchandise that I'm going to be getting off at the tailgating and at the Rose Bowl parade and stuff. So I have my work cut out for me for the game. So if I can get my work done before the game, of course I'm going to the game. You know what I mean? But I don't have to be at the game to be at the game. You know what I mean? Like, we already, we there in spirit. I'm out, you know, I'm there. I'm definitely at the Rose Bowl. I'm definitely there. So like I said, I have a lot of work to do as far as for my company and getting this merchandise out and still spreading the word. But, I'm definitely going to be there at the Rose Bowl, stadium. Definitely.
For sure.
Whether I'm in or out. So like I said, I have a couple opportunities I have opportunities to be like almost in a good seat there too. So I'm weighing out my options right now.
Awesome. Well, I hope you get to enjoy it with whatever you're doing. I mean, if you're selling your merch, whatever you're doing for the Rose Bowl, I hope you get to enjoy it. That's an awesome opportunity. I'm getting excited for the game itself. So we're going to do our best here with me and all my listeners here to promote your music. Relm, keep doing your thing. Keep producing and keep grinding. If there's anything we learned from this discussion with you and hearing your story, it's, hey, you just got to keep grinding. You got to adjust to the market, but you got to keep your passion and remember your roots. Never forget your roots and keep grinding and keep doing your thing, because obviously you've got talent. And if anybody out there has a talent or a passion, they want to display that, they need to do that. But just make sure that you're remembering where you come from, because that's going to ultimately be what drives you. So Relm, I appreciate you joining us. For all the listeners out there, you know where to find me. Go subscribe to us, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.